In this video, I'm going to take you through my 4 key takeaways to help you pass first time your ACCA SBL examination for the December 2024 sitting. My name is James, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to get access to all of my videos. And if you'd like to download a copy of the PDF you can see above me, click the link in the description of this video and you can follow through the notes and the tips that I'll talk about in this recording. You'll also find down in the comments section as well that I'm delighted to be associated and affiliated with Astranti. They have mock papers, their own pre-scene analysis, and I'd highly recommend you check them out. It could be that difference getting you the 50 plus. They've got some great question analysis banks on there. And for pure transparency, as always on the channel, if you were to purchase any of those through the links in the description of this video, I'd be entitled to a small commission which goes to supporting the YouTube channel. So as always, a massive thank you. I hope you enjoyed the videos. We're going to get stuck into it straight away now, because area number 1 of my key takeaways is the event management industry itself. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never worked really in events management on there. You know, I've probably had to sort out the odd staff social, but we're going to get straight into page number 2 now. The events management in Haaland. And in terms of the actual figures wise, which are going to be imperative that you are on top of it, there are some that I just think are just so important. You need to just make sure you've got them down. The first one, and I'm going to put my mouse on it here, is understanding the difference and making sure you're crystal clear that we have global revenue figures for the events management industry that Rodhim actually finds himself in, and then we have Rodhim's actual figures themselves in the country of Haaland. So making sure we split out the global figures with the Haaland figures, and also for Rodhim, the individual company who we are representing. Now, in terms of the actual events management industry, it's prosperous, it's advancing. The key figures for you to get down that we have in the paragraphs on the right hand side. In terms of Haaland and the events management market itself, it's dominated by 4 major companies, and Rodhim, for your notes, is not one of them on there. In terms of the actual revenue that's been generated, we've got revenue generated by events in Haaland in 2003 was 108 billion. And therefore we have up at the top here, again in 2003, we have revenue generated globally in the same market of 1,960 billion on there. So you can see my calculations at the bottom, that if we do 108 billion divided by 1,960 billion, that is where Haaland's revenue actually only represents 5.5% of the global revenue proportion of the events management industry. Highly lucrative, and the key percentage for you to get down, I'll put my mouse on it there, is that it's 11% annual growth for the next 5 years. This is where it's going to link into other areas of the case study where you can talk about competition, new entrants into the market, barriers to entry on there. But the key thing to get your head around is that Rodhim is not one of the large competitors in Haaland on there. They are one of the small ones. And it goes with the territory, but you've still got to be able to apply that we're going to have music, concerts, conferences, festivals. What we are specialising here for Rodhim, again, I'll quickly pull it back up to the top here on page 2, is they specialise in corporate and private clients. Now, why is that important from the pre-scene notes? Because if we look on the pie chart on the right-hand side, corporate clients represent 73% of the market on there in Haaland, and private clients operate 4%. So you can see in my notes from a SWOT analysis opportunity perspective, they've not even touched the 23% in the public sector. And then breaking it down into the type of events, we have on the left-hand side pie chart in terms of the fee income. So you've got the percentages for the music concerts, the conferences, but on the side here, I've multiplied it by the actual fee income that was actually received in the actual country of Haaland. Now, where has that figure come from? It's where my mouse is up here, 39 billion in fees. This is what the actual events industry has actually accumulated for that period, and therefore I've taken my 39 billion and multiplied it by the relevant percentages. So feel free to take those down in the notes, or if you've got the PDF yourself, you can save yourself a job on there. but it's just so that you're aware that you've got to apply on the exam day for SBL. The type of clients, the type of events, don't refer to them as just it and them. And the final key bit for your notes is in terms of profitability, size and growth, sports and the virtual events are the two highlighted areas that they should be targeting as the most lucrative. So that is area number 1, events management for the industry itself. Now we're going to come down to page number 6 because that is my second area now, key personnel and accountability. So the second key takeaway, key names that you have to have just on your mind all the time and understanding who they are, what position they are in the hierarchy, and hence why I've done it in that sort of colour coordination. Amanda and Safi on there own the business itself for Rodhim, 50-50, equal split, but they are in a partnership. This is where they have unlimited liability, and if they were to rack up debts in the business itself, or if the business was to say have a massive fine, penalty, lawsuit, things that they could throw up on the SBL exam day, they would be liable to pay it out of their own personal actual assets on there. So again, they don't have limited liability if they were, say, a limited company or a potential PLC. So from there, we've got Amanda and Safi, where we come into the other key personnel. These are the only names we've been given, and I've put them in purple there on the left-hand side. So you've got Amanda and Safi, who are the key split of the partners who own the business, and then you've got Mirza, Dika and Jimmy, who are the managers of 34 full-time employees. But the key thing here to take away in terms of why I had this down as a key takeaway is look at the amount of roles that each of these individuals have. And Dika is a 22-year-old recent graduate, but I feel sorry for Jimmy on here. He's a qualified accountant on there, but look at Jimmy's roles as to IT support, development, he's also HR, bit of analytics in there. It's not as if they can just sort of focus in on one particular aspect, and therefore I'm thinking of, well, what about resource allocation? Are they being stretched? And then linking into other key personnel. Now, we're not given any names on here, but I'll put a mouse on it. Rodhim actually employs temporary staff to actually support the events, and these are absolutely critical to providing that customer service. So we've not been given much in terms of training, the quality of the service they're providing. There are other mechanisms they've measured it, but those are the key personnel that you need to be aware of. And the final thing for you to note, again, if you've got these notes, you can go through it in a bit more detail, is on the right-hand side in terms of the risk category, identifying who is accountable and for what risk factor area. So you've got the strategic risks, Amanda and Safi, financial risks, Mirza's on there, economic, Jimmy's accountable there, Dika and Mirza are for compliance and operational risk. Key things that you should be applying on the SBL exam day. So that's my second key takeaway, key personnel and accountability. Number 3 now is the mission, value and ethics. Now, SBL classically loves these areas. However, I've put it down as a key takeaway because there are areas which we've been given sort of sprinkles of these factors, like on the left-hand side on page 9 now, for Rodhim's mission statement of top quality service, meeting expectations, or shall I say fully meet on there, a memorable experience, and then we have also about, in terms of the strategic aims, encouraging an open and respectful ethical business culture. I was reading it through, I'm there going, hang on a second, if you're putting that down as an ethical business culture and having it down as a top strategic aim, therefore I'm thinking, well, worst case scenario, on the exam day, are they going to throw something in there that is going to bring that to the limelight of going, hang on a second, what is going on here? And obviously something bad happening. Then I come on to the other areas as to, well, in terms of the KPIs, if we're looking at ethics and missions and values, I'd maybe expect to see that in a non-financial KPI on there. But on the left-hand side, we've been given client satisfaction, tender success, and the environmental sustainability. So another note worth getting down that it's not in the non-financial KPIs, and one of the non-financial KPIs, the environmental sustainability, none of the key personnel are actually in their job titles and roles we've been given actually accountable for waste recycled, water consumption, energy, a key aspect not accounted for, let alone the final point I've got on here in terms of the industry body now. We've been given a little paragraph there for the Institute of Events Organisations, but we're not told if Rodhim is actually a member on this. So again, something you could question on the exam day, and that is where the final point for our mission, values and ethics, talking about questioning, is linking it back to, on the left-hand side now, those SBL professional skills mark areas and the code of ethics. In terms of the ethics areas, integrity, objectivity, and the rest that you can see on the screen, there is limited areas that I can see it at the moment, so they could throw it in as one of the requirements because they love to test ethics and it should be on your SBL exam in one way or another. But I talked about skepticism, your analysis. These are key professional skills mark areas that you've got to question the scenario, and this is one of the one of the four key takeaways that I wanted to get on record that you need to be looking to implement in your answers on the exam day. Commercial acumen, linking it back to the actual events management industry itself, but the evaluation and skepticism are the two key areas that students fall short on when it comes to writing their answers. So that's my key takeaway number 3, the mission, value and ethics. Last but by no means least, key takeaway number 4, the business operations. I'm coming down to page 8 and 9 now. In other words, you've got to have a good idea how this business operates, and we've been given a nice flow chart on the right hand side there, all about how they go about the tendering process to offer high quality events to all clients. But the key thing for your notes is, well, actually when we come on to the NPS score, it's been dropping year on year. And we're also told by the actual owners of the business that they don't want to collaborate with any other actual organisations on there. It's a case of that they look to find sort of common areas, and this means that they can actually compete against some of the larger firms. But if we come on to where the directors are actually putting it out there, so this is Amanda and Safi, that they actually say, no, we don't want that. You can say Rodhim does not have any formal or informal cooperation or collaboration arrangements in place with other businesses. But in actual fact, we're told in the precede notes, you'll see it when you go through, and I'll do it in a couple more videos, that it's telling the smaller firms that you should collaborate together. This is how you can actually make the events more profitable and take up more clients. So joint ventures, partnerships are things overlooked on there in terms of the actual process. And then coming on to other factors, you've got information systems, you can see on the left hand side, ticketing systems, you've probably seen this in the real world of QR codes, but it's crying out for, what if we have an IT failure? Again, it could be linked into a sort of pest analysis for technology. And James Atros is accountable for this. He's the manager head of business support. So again, there's a lot of operational sides for you to get your head around: the marketing systems, ticketing systems, QR codes, possible cyber attacks, a variety of different things. But the bottom line is we want to give a nice environment for our customers to enjoy their events. But if we come down to the final point here in terms of client satisfaction, this net promoter score, which is all about client loyalty, satisfaction, feedback, it's been dropping from 9.1 to 8.4 to 7.5. It's not looking as good for Rodhim, and that benchmarking of client satisfaction should definitely be on your list of how they're operating this business as a key takeaway, that it's slowly been going down year on year. Well, that takes us through all of these lovely notes that if you would like access to, feel free to click the link in the description of this video. If you have any questions or comments or other things you thought were a key takeaway, leave me a comment. And what I'll do for the end, guys, is I'll leave a final video up at the top. Make sure you click it. It's going to take you to the series, and it could be the difference in helping you to pass your SBL exam, along with if you want to take advantage of those Astranti mock papers, pre-scene analysis packs. They're all down below linked as well. So I'll see you on the other side now, and thank you very much.